Oh, good afternoon, everybody. I would like to call to order the Gladstone Community Center Advisory Board meeting on this Tuesday, February 18th, 2025 at 3:32 p.m. I will now read into the record that the City of Gladstone is abiding by guidelines outlined in House Bill 2560, which requires the governing body of the public body, to the extent reasonably possible, to make all meetings accessible remotely through technological means and provide opportunities for members of the general public to remotely submit oral and written testimony during meetings to extent in-person oral and written testimony is allowed. Therefore, this meeting will be open to the public, both in person and virtually using the Zoom platform. Okay, Haley, would you please do the roll call?
Joelle Laku.
Here.
Sharon Howard.
Here.
Tony Bergeron.
Here.
Mindy Prosky.
Here.
Evelyn Johannesson. Josie Whitaker.
Here.
Roxanne McMullen.
Here.
All right, so we will be going over business from the community center staff, business from the board, and we do have the foundation here today, so we will have some business from the audience. All right, first off, could I please have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from both the December 17th, 2024 meeting and also the January 21st, 2025 meeting?
Before you get a motion, I want to make a comment about something that needs to be corrected on both of them.
Oh.
You can approve it with the correction.
Okay.
We will need to make sure to add that Counselor Vanessa Huckabee was also in attendance at both of those meetings.
Okay. Correction to both the minutes for December 17th, 2024 and January 21st, 2025 to amend that City Council Liaison Huckabee was present. Can I have a motion to approve the meetings, please?
I make a motion to approve the meetings.
I second.
Thank you. Haley, will you please call the vote?
Joelle Laku.
Here.
Sharon Howard.
Here.
Tony Bergeron.
Here. I.
Josie Whitaker.
Here.
Roxanne McMullen.
Yes.
Did you call my name?
No.
Mindy Prosky.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's okay. All right. Thank you so much. Meeting minutes from both meetings have been approved. Okay. Now, wonderful stuff coming from the community center. Thanks, Michelle.
Hi, guys. It kind of feels like a Monday, huh? But it's Tuesday, but I feel it. All right. I just wanted to go over the monthly report for January real quick. We've got all the cute little graphs on here about how many people came to the center and volunteer hours and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if you guys saw, and I'm not sure if I put it on here, if I even said it last time. We had over 7,000 hours of volunteer work done in 2024. And if I said it before, I'm just so proud of it. Like, that's a lot of hours for volunteers to put in at the center. And as you can see, we recorded almost 500 for just the month of January alone. So, stuff that we had going on in January, we had legal aid come in. We had the Gladstone historical presentation, and they went over from 1800 to 1950, I think, with Gladstone organ history. It was really fascinating. We would love to have them back and go back even further, maybe during Indigenous Day or something like that, to talk about the different tribes that were in the area. So that was a lot of fun. A really, really beneficial one that came out for our Lunch and Learn series was the Energy Trust of Oregon workshop. I'm just kind of skipping around on this report just because during that lunch and learn, a representative, Charlie, came down and talked to everyone. It was really well attended. But he talks about not only renters, but homeowners that if you fall under a certain income guideline, there's different grants that through Energy Trust of Oregon that people can qualify for. And he was talking about how a lot of people don't know about them. How do they get the word out? And how do they get seniors to utilize these grants that the funds are allocated and sitting there ready for them to use? So anyways, we do this workshop. He goes around after the lunch and learn, talks to people individually. One of our participants, which I wrote the whole story on the back just because I don't want to get too emotional with it, but she called him. He came out. She ended up having no insulation in her ceiling, in her crawl space. She uses a walker. She had a tub with a high edge, 1950s type tub, big porcelain guy. Couldn't get into the shower because of it. Because she couldn't step over that, no railing, nothing like that. She had a bad roof. She had no hot water heater. All this, there was something else too, but he came in, he took measurements, he got a little bit of information from her. Within that same week, he was able to come back and get her scheduled out. They put all new insulation in the crawl space and in the attic. They ripped out her shower. Oh, she had no heat in the bathroom either. So she had baseboard heaters around the house, and there was no heat in the bathroom. So they were able to put in a walk-in shower with her shower chair in there. And they were able to add a heater, a wall heater, all within like a 2-week process, by the way. They came in, whipped it out, no charge to her whatsoever. And then right now she found out that they are going to go ahead and because her roof is molded and leaking. And we have had stories here about what happens with molded, leaking roofs. They are going to go ahead and replace that roof for her and replace her hot water heater. She would have never known about that program if it hadn't been for our lunch and learn. And just kind of getting these programs out there. It's just one of those stories that I can't express enough of how important it is to have these kind of functions in a community and bring in these partnerships from around Oregon who can talk to people, because a lot of these people don't have social media. They don't have internet. How would they find these programs? I don't know. So it's really important if you guys see that we're having a lunch and learn and it looks like something that would really impact the community, please share it on social media just so we can kind of get it out there. Because a lot of these, I mean, that's just one story. They're working with many people from the center, but that's just one success story from that one lunch and learn. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. We did our adventure trips. We had music, as always. We had an organizational workshop, which was really well attended as well. A lot of people I'd never seen at the center before came to that. So that's always exciting for me, is to see people that I've never seen come in because they said they saw something in the newsletter and they wanted to attend it. They'd never been in. That's basically it for January. I mean, it wasn't that productive it was productive, but it wasn't that big of a month. I did want to also share with you guys something that happened in January, which was the Gladstone City Council retreat. Just one of the things that I wanted to share with you guys that came out of that is the council loved the Community Center Advisory Board strategic goals that you guys came up with, that we all came up with. One thing that looks like we might change is number 1, expand multi-generational services into expand multi-generational, multicultural services and programs. So just adding that cultural piece to that number 1. But other than that, they were just really excited with the work we're all doing and supportive would be my biggest takeaway of that is the city council is extremely supportive of what we're doing. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And then just some new updates. The center, we are moving into, we were on a 2-day a week or a 2-day a week cleaning schedule. We are going to 3 days because our center is so busy every single day, and it really just needs that 3rd day of cleaning, especially with in the kitchen and the meals. And then we have quite a bit of stuff going on February. We have our Black History Month display up. We also have been researching all the things that are going around in Portland, Clackamas County, just the area in general that are doing Black History Month celebrations, concerts, drummings, book reading, stuff like that. So we have all that information posted in our library at the center just to kind of help spread that information. We also are getting ready to in March, Haley, to stuff all our Easter eggs. And so we'll be looking for volunteers to do the big Easter egg stuffing. So I just wanted to put that on everybody's radar, the 17th, the 21st, the 24th, and the 28th. Yeah, February, I guess we actually don't have that much going on in February. We have, again, legal aid coming in, music, our trips, and we're just kind of getting ready for our spring market that's going to be coming up in May. We already have 38 vendors that have signed up. So I'm very excited about that. And food truck possibly or 2. And then our Music on the Green series that's coming up as well. And I want to say that I already have at least 50 bands this time to go through. Just tons of submissions. So that's just what's keeping us busy around the center. And yeah, any questions?
Yes, Michelle. Do you recall how many vendors you had at the first spring market, which was last year?
I just looked today, it was 23.
Fantastic.
So I will say I didn't realize this, paying for having a little bit of a fund to pay for advertisement on Facebook to kind of push your event makes the world a difference. And I've been able to see that with the Music on the Greens and the spring market because I advertise like a $5 a day budget for both of those. And I did not do that last year. And wow. And I'm guessing if any of you used Facebook, you know, stuff comes up in your feed. It's those people that are paying for stuff probably that is popping up in your feed. And so, you know, I'm glad I did that. And it's been shared hundreds of times. And we're up to 780 followers on Facebook, which Haley knows that I complain all the time because the city has like thousands. And I'm just like, why don't we have thousands of followers? And I can't understand why, you know, but we are up to 780. So, and climbing. Yep.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
Oh, and I guess wanted to say one more thing. I kind of had talked about this last month. We are doing, I have a new community events binder. So the foundation had allotted $5,000 for different senior programming at the center. And the first one that we will be working on is the Minidoka Swing Band that I was talking about last time. We're just trying to secure the high school auditorium because you need so much space to have them. It's a very large band and they need a lot of space with their dancing and instruments. And so once we secure that, hopefully, we will be hiring them through the generous donation of the foundation and picking a date where they're going to come in and do their presentation. So pretty excited about that. And looking for ideas for senior enrichment for the next 2 events. So,
Great. Thank you for that. Well done. Okay, so on to business from the board. Because we have two new board members, it was requested that I revisit the frequency of the Gladstone Community Center Advisory Board meeting schedule. As we sometimes don't often have pressing agenda items on a monthly basis, they wanted me to see what everybody on the board thought about continuing our current schedule, which is to have a meeting every month, or if there was interest in going bi-monthly. So I will start at this end.
You're gonna ask the new person?
I'm asking everybody.
I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
Well, I personally don't know that I have an opinion, only because I'm still absorbing. This is my second meeting.
Sure.
So I don't know that it's fair for me to have, or not so much fair, but I just don't know that. I think people who have been here longer probably have a better understanding of how frequently we should be meeting.
Well, I would advocate to having a meeting every other month. I just think that sometimes we don't have as much to talk about. And I know last summer we did, whether it would be so this summer, we took off July and August because a lot of people have vacations and there would be some absentees. So anyway, that's my opinion. Okay.
I don't have much of an opinion because I too am new. I'm available once a month. And it's really up to you guys.
Josie, what's your?
Same with me. I'm available, and if there's nothing pressing, then I think we should change. But if we need to, we can be here.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to be the stinker. I think monthly is what keeps us in touch with what is going on at the center.
Sure.
And while I go to the center twice a week, I don't really have any insight into what's being offered other than what the newsletter provides.
Good point. Okay. Well, I think that perhaps we give some time for our new members to get some sessions under their feet, and we can always revisit this. But for right now, it sounds like we'll continue to have it on a monthly basis. And we will still plan, if nothing changes between now and summer, we will still plan on taking our July and August break. And so, sometimes they're short meetings, but it is nice to check in. And so, because I don't think we can decide whether or not to have a meeting in an upcoming month, right?
I do know that other boards will cancel meetings if there isn't anything pressing on the agenda.
Is that right? So you have a standing meeting, but you are able to cancel if there isn't a lot to talk about.
Like, for instance,
Options.
Most recent that comes to mind is our Park and Recreation Advisory Board. They had some meetings that they canceled. There wasn't anything pressing on their agendas. So they do have a standing monthly meeting, but had a couple months that they canceled their meetings. So that can be a possibility.
Okay. Thank you for that. I didn't know if that was actually an option or not. Okay. So does that sound acceptable to everybody?
Reasonable.
That sounds pretty reasonable to me. Okay. And having said that, I am not available next month. So I will not be able to attend the March 18th board meeting. So Vice Chair Tony Bergeron will be leading the meeting on that Tuesday, March 18th. So, Tony, we can talk about that.
Yeah, okay. Good.
So, all right, great. Unless y'all decide to cancel it. No, I'm kidding. So the last bit that I had on my my list here was just and then of course I walked into this very nice handout from Tammy Bannock, just reminding everybody to please make sure that you do sign up for the Oregon Government Ethics Commission Public Meetings Law Training. It is also in an email sent by Tammy Bannock, and of course we have the handout here in front of us. It has multiple options to sign up for webinars, and there is actually, I believe I saw one in-person training that is being offered. So this is required by all board members. We did a training, maybe for some of us it was some time ago, but this is new for everybody. And so all board members are required to take this training, please. So make sure you look through this handout and see if you can find a day and a time that works for your schedule. All right. Does anybody have any comments or concerns for the board?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I won't be here next month because I will be on a trip. So
Okay.
just wanted to give you that
No, thank you.
heads up.
Always nice to know.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
I had the idea that I would go and look at the other community centers in our region that are, fairly close to us, like Happy Valley, North Clackamas, etc. And then, of course, am I representing the board, or is I'm just a concerned citizen? What would be the ethical part of that? And I wanted to do so to learn what's working for others.
Mm-hmm.
To be more supportive to the community center. Did that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So then I thought, well, if I did that, what would I do when I got there? and would I talk to staff, or would I talk to patrons? Would I come up with a sort of short list of survey questions?
That's a really, really good question, Tony. And I don't think I have an articulate answer for you on that. I think it would depend if you were just going to check it out, on a personal, level. If you wanted to speak with staff or patrons, I think maybe we would want to discuss that further.
Yeah.
About how you would approach that, and would you be there as a representative of the Gladstone Community Center Advisory Board,
right.
And possibly get some input from Administrator Betts on how to approach that. I think if you want to just go and check it out, go check it out.
Yeah, I can as a citizen.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. But yeah, as a representative of the board, I think we would probably just want to maybe just have a little bit more thought process.
Okay.
About that, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I make a comment?
Of course.
We have a crochet club at Gladstone, and there's one in Oregon City for 2.5 hours every Monday. And I was real interested to hear that a lady up there brought her 2 granddaughters to the crochet club because they both want to learn.
Mm.
And they were told they had to leave because they were not seniors.
Ooh.
And both of those girls were crushed. Plus, I think grandma dropped out of the club.
That was in Oregon City?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Up at the Pioneer Center.
Mm-hmm.
You should tell them to come to ours. We are an all age center.
Christy, who comes to ours, goes up there also on Monday, and she told them that, but the lady was very upset and may not even come down to ours. Because Christy said, "You're welcome, bring the kids. We'd love to have them." But I thought that was kind of crude that they would do that. I mean, they were both teenagers. And Christy said that that one class that they were at before they were made to leave, that they were very attentive and very well behaved. So it makes me sad that they would be treated that way, because we'd welcome them with open arms.
Well, I suppose if there is a center that is strictly a senior center, that they may have age restrictions for their programs, and they obviously, think that falls in line with how they want to run their center. And so I very much hope that that those people will come to our community center.
Well, they call it the Pioneer Community Center because I called them 3 months ago and asked them to send me a newsletter because I heard there were some classes that were different up there, and I just received it last week after waiting for 3 months. And it's Pioneer Community Center, and there was nothing in any of it about age. They have meals 5 days a week. The meals are only $3.50.
They don't have a salad bar, Josie.
No, they do not have a salad bar. That's what I've heard a lot of people complain. I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you what it said. But there was nothing in any of it about age limit. And I thought it was pretty strange that they called it the community center if only seniors are allowed there.
I would be a little bit surprised as well if somebody was turned away based on age at a center that had the word community and was not specifically a senior center, but perhaps they just got on the wrong end of somebody that day that was feeling the need to do that. So that's unfortunate for them, though. Thank you for sharing that story, though. That points out to why we want to be inclusive in our center. If you want to come and hang out and do anything at our center, you are welcome. And Tony, I'm sorry, Joelle, did you have a comment?
Oh, I was just going to ask Michelle, I feel like you're like a super sleuth. Have you done research, or do you meet up with the folks in your roles at other centers and collaborate and connect on what they're doing versus just be thought partners with that group?
We do. I meet with 8 other Clackamas County adult centers or community centers in the area, all the way out to Hoodland. We meet quarterly, and we always do a roundtable of the different things that are going on in our centers. And then I also get their newsletters, or the center does. We've subscribed to all of them. And so if anyone is ever interested in looking at other people's newsletters, just come into my office because I have stacks of them each month. Because I feel same, Tony, it's really valuable to look to see what other places are doing, what's working for them. And I get ideas out of their catalogs all the time. So, yeah, and everybody, almost every single director at the other centers, I can email them and ask them questions because they've all been there a lot longer than me. Which is sad to me to hear about Pioneer Center because Cecily Rose is up there, and she's the most helpful director I've ever come across in this business. So, yeah.
It does, having done investigative work in the past, I would be very curious to call up the not city council, but the city of Oregon City, and inquire about that, not naming names, but since I don't know the names, but just wondering what, questioning the community center. I'm just kind of curious. I'd like to check that out a little more regarding your story. But anyway.
I think before you turn anybody in, you look and see if it was the director who said they couldn't participate or the staff versus.
It was the receptionist that was.
Okay, then which is probably a volunteer who didn't know what they were doing.
I think it's very possible, like I said, that they just crossed paths with maybe the wrong person. That maybe didn't have all of the information that they needed and felt the need to enforce that rule that maybe in fact isn't a rule. But that's still a unfortunate thing to have happened to them. I'm glad to hear that Michelle has collaborative contacts in this realm that is just invaluable. So I love that we kind of have some other people out there that she can link into for advice, and I hope that they're subscribing to our newsletter as well.
So I just looked it up. The Pioneer Community Center in Oregon City, Oregon is open to people aged 21 and older. The center is located. So it's a 21 plus.
So
it's an adult community center.
Okay.
So they're insured.
So
they are probably insured with those guidelines, of adults, meaning the insurance that they carry covers adult participants. I'm thinking.
I would not hazard to guess if that was the reason or if it was just a preference.
Okay.
And so, but if it is their preference, then that is their prerogative.
Yeah.
Of course.
I wasn't trying to cause trouble. I was just relating a story.
No, I found
Christy was very upset about it, and
I found
apparently these people were too.
Well, I found it very interesting, and I think it's always good to know what our surrounding community centers have to offer and the age groups that they're willing to, support. So that's just good to know that, obviously you have a group of dedicated crocheters. And so you would know now not to send anybody younger than 21 over to their center for that particular program that they're offering. So it's good to know.
And also, I think when you are talking about a particular center, referring it to the center manager, like a question like that, and I'm sorry for your friends, but that would have been a good, and it's true, maybe the receptionist didn't know and she didn't delegate the information well, or she did know and she just the way she conveyed it. But I think your friend inquiring with the center manager would be the person to, as a resource regarding that particular center. So.
And now they know that our center is open to teenagers crocheting. Yes. We want that. That is what we want. That's what we want our teenagers doing.
We're all just a bunch of jokes sitting around pretending we're crocheting.
But I think I am okay with that too.
But I think it's really, really interesting that younger people want to learn what's, quote, a historic craft. Because a lot of people don't crochet anymore.
No, they don't.
Now, if somebody taught tatting, I'd be the first one there.
I don't even know what that is.
Tatting is done with a little shuttle with a little hook, and it's what they used to make the very fine little lace collars.
Oh.
I had a great aunt that did it. It was gorgeous, but I couldn't get anybody to teach me. I've got all of her shuttles and stuff.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Now we know.
We do have a 21-year-old in our group. So,
yay.
Yeah.
What group?
Your group.
Who?
Heman, Sarah.
Oh, well, Sarah hasn't been there in almost a year.
No,
She hasn't been there since she turned 21.
she's going to school full time and working.
I want to be there, but I have to work. So,
She'll be sick for an hour.
oh, totally. No, I know, right? It's just down the street. I should figure this out. Okay. All right. Well, all really, really good information. Thank you for sharing. Does anybody else have any questions or comments at this time? All right, we'll go ahead and move along to business from the audience. We have Bonnie here to give us an update on the foundation.
Thank you for having me. I'm representing the Gladstone Seniors Foundation, which we are working with seniors. And I'm so thankful that the community center is open to the community, but we are a seniors organization. The first thing that I wanted to say is that in the new year, we were able to welcome Simona into our fold. She's on our board now. So we're looking forward to all of her valuable information and help and ideas. And the next thing that I wanted to do is give a little bit of an update on the lady who we talked about, whose roof collapsed. And she ended up in the hospital for a couple of weeks. And she was discharged to live with her disabled son. Jump in if I get this wrong. The landlord found out that she was living with him and gave them an eviction notice. I know. And they had to be out by February 1st. So this one over here jumped in, and I'm sure that Deanna helped as well, but mostly Michelle, just went for it. And they've called many, many apartments, and for various reasons, not being a ground floor, not taking their income level, not taking their credit score, not available or whatever. I think it came down to 1 or 2 apartments or just one. And Michelle contacted the corporate offices in the Midwest because the local office still was not going to take their credit score. Even though they have the Social Security income, their credit was not good. And Michelle went to bat, and she got them to approve Barbara and her son to move in. And I just can't say enough about that. Michelle just went above and beyond to where she was feeling pretty upset and personal about it, because it was just such a big accomplishment and being able to help. So then our foundation paid to have her deposit. We paid her deposit. They're going to be able to handle their rent, but they didn't have the deposit. They had to pay, each had to pay to apply to live there, $60 each for that. And so we were able to help her in that regard. At that point, Jal and I mentioned that maybe since she's on Sunnyside now and not in the Gladstone area, that perhaps the Milwaukee Center could take them on and continue following whatever their needs would be at this point. And Michelle says that she's been able to do that now, and so Milwaukee's going to be handling their situation. But I just want you guys to know that I can't say enough about how hard and how personal it was for Michelle to take this project on for one person, out of all the people that we meet. And so you know that that's coming, but you know that you've got the right person in the job to take care of people. And so it meant a lot to us personally to be able to work with her on that. I know she doesn't want me talking about her, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Bonnie,
Yeah.
I would like to say something because I witnessed this heart at work one day when she had a lady come in who was nonverbal and had been trying to get a doctor's appointment, and you have to be online on telephone and all that. And Michelle stepped in and did what she needed to do. And every day I see that in her. It isn't just the one person at the staff is
Yeah.
wonderful. The
Yes,
entire
exactly.
group is, but Michelle is the right person.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then 20 minutes later, she's in the kitchen. You know,
I just want to chime in. This is why advocacy work, if you guys could ever, I don't like talking about this stuff because you guys know what a slush I am with emotions, but advocacy work is so important because both of the people that you guys are referring to, you can't make a doctor's appointment without being verbal. She had no car. She had no family. She could not speak, nor could she hear. She could see. So you had to write. So when I say how frustrating it was for me, I can't even imagine how frustrating it was for her. And this was life-saving medicine that she needed. She had moved here. I mean, it was completely messing her up. It was literally life-saving medicine. And so if any time that you can become a senior advocate, please, please do, because these are two stories. We have a senior who's going through, she's a multi-billionaire living in the apartments over here that the IRS is coming after her because someone used her social security number. And we have a volunteer who's working with that, like contacting the IRS. It's so important because these guys cannot do this on their own. The Barbara situation with the housing, even with me, and I'm pretty tenacious when it comes to stuff like this. They were going to be homeless, and and they had a car, thank God, but even the Oregon Housing Authority, until they became homeless, wouldn't even put them on the wait list for housing. There are so many different things that we really have to just step up and really advocate for these people because it's nearly impossible. Don't give up because you can get it done, but become an advocate. That's all I have to say.
that's just wonderful. And I know that Deanna and Michelle also are, the staff is just, they just go beyond all the time, daily practically. So we're thankful that we have them in our little community. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that we are looking forward to partnering with the center on the events that that Michelle had discussed. The first one being the Mini Doka swing band, who have a wonderful story. I'm hoping that everybody can come to that because they will be discussing their heritage as well as playing the music. And it looks to be a really exciting presentation, but we don't have a date yet. Is that right?
No, not yet.
Okay. And so we're working on a couple of other events that will be able to partner with the center. So I think, one other thing about Barbara and that Michelle just told me is that the park where her trailer is being moved out because it's destroyed and it's no cost to her. So they're stepping up and helping out in that regard because it's got to go. Somebody's got to get it out of there. So they're helping her on that. So she really really has been blessed to have a new life, really. I mean, when you're thinking about the black mold disease that she had and the living conditions that she was in, she's got a new life now with her son in a safe environment. So does anybody have any questions for the foundation? Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. Right. If there are no other questions or comments at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second that motion.
No, you got to make the motion.
I make a motion that we close this meeting.
Thank you, Sharon.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Josie. Haley, you want to call the vote, please?
Jobel Lacku,
Hi.
Sharon Howard,
Aye.
Tony Bergeron,
Aye.
Mindy Prosky,
Yes.
Josie Whitaker,
Yes.
Roxanne McElroy.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned at 4:18 p.m. Next meeting is March 18th at 3:30 p.m. Thank you, everyone.